This is Too Long for a Voice Note, a podcast about everything and nothing at the same time. Presented by Claire
and Enzo. Our podcast is produced in London. Some conversations are just too long for a voice note.
Hi, she's Claire.
And he's Enzo.
And this is Too Long for a Voice Note.
Hello!
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to a beautiful podcast.
Thank you
Too
so
Long
much
for
for
a Voice
joining
Note.
us again.
Thank you.
Yes, how are you?
It's a new week, so thank you, everyone. Thank you for
Yeah.
subscribing, liking, sharing, everything you do.
commenting.
Thank you. Thank you for supporting us. And
Yeah.
also, we want to mention something that we
At the top,
start last week, basically, right?
Yeah, last week we decided, because obviously, like all of you, I'm sure we've been watching the situation unfold in Ukraine, so we were kind of talking about what we could maybe do to help in any way.
Yeah, kind of to like what
Yeah.
we can do to support
Yeah.
the situation.
So we've decided to donate to the British Red Cross. So a big thank you to everybody who's donated so far. We really do appreciate it.
Yeah, it's been amazing. We raised our target already twice because we
Yeah.
started with like 100 or something,
100
then it
and
was
something,
200, and now it's 500 because every one of you are supporting us.
Yeah.
So please, if you're watching this, if you want to help the people in Ukraine, whatever, if it's like 5, 10, 20, 100, whatever
Yeah.
you want, we're going to leave the link below here in the
Yeah,
description.
just click in
And
the
also you
description.
can go to our Instagram and you can find the link there.
Yeah.
So thank you very much. So we want to
Yes.
just start the episode saying thank you. And well,
Yeah.
hopefully like this situation will be, I don't know, solved or
Yeah,
we're going to
for
pass
sure.
this to
I mean, it's
like,
always so sweet to see how obviously like the worst side of humanity, but then how people band together and how generous people are. I think we
Kind of-
really felt that just in our small little
yeah,
community.
I think kind of like this what we can like hold on to in this time. So
Yeah,
yeah,
for
but thank you
sure.
everyone. And
So how has your week been, Enzo?
It's interesting week. To be honest, this week has been very dead to me. It's
Blah.
dead to me. It's kind of like
dead to me.
It's like dead to me. I don't know. I think it's like not to be like talking about the weather, but I think now it's like fucking winter. Can winter? You know,
Winter,
I think
Enzo.
it's feeling like now it's really long. Like, you know, you wake up, it's gray, rain. I think this week was really hard. Also, apart from everything that it's happening, it's just not like
Yeah.
focus it on myself and oh my god, everything happened. But to me, it's not like that. But it's just a bit like I think the combination of everything is making this week very like
Heavy.
It's like long. This month we're celebrating like the Women's Month.
True.
The women's, I think it's called
International
History.
Women's Month.
International Women's Month.
Because there's also
yeah.
Black History Month as well.
That was,
So
but that
there's
was like last month.
Yeah, that was
okay.
before.
Yeah.
So now we're going into International Women's Month, so where we celebrate.
Which is, yeah.
We're men.
We're-
We have an
we're
event
men.
we're going to.
Yeah, next
We're
week.
going to be
so
there, represent. So-
Yeah, it's kind of cool that we have. I mean, we always talk about very feminist and women related topics. I think it's impossible to run away from those topics
Yeah,
because you
for
know,
sure.
yeah. So it's kind of like cool. Let's see what this month brings, and you know, we're gonna share things on the stories and on Instagram and kind of like engage with everything that's
Sure,
happening.
we'll stay tuned.
So
Well,
yeah.
speaking of, I think it's my week this week. So
So
it's,
I imagine where the
it might be a bit related to that.
it might be or may not.
So it's time for Claire's secret topic of the week. Okay, so I'm quite excited about my topic this week.
Okay.
So I was thinking about something that does relate
Tell me.
to women, although this isn't just about women, but I think it predominantly does affect women.
Okay, as many things in this world
Exactly.
they're being overlooked.
Women like take the front of it.
Yeah.
So I want to talk about body hair removal. I bet you weren't expecting that.
I bet you were expecting that. Actually, I wasn't. Very interesting topic.
So it's just something that,
Controversial
right?
topic.
I
yeah.
don't know what direction we're going to go into because to prepare for this topic, I've been researching the hell out of body hair removal. And let me tell you, it's
like a
deep.
whole thing.
So I think maybe I'll start by giving like a very brief history of
Yeah,
it.
that would be
brief,
interesting. Yeah.
And then we can kind of talk about it more, talk about
Okay.
our experience of it, because I want to hear
yeah.
about it from a male perspective as well. Did you know that the practice of removing female body hair is not new? It can be traced back to ancient Rome and Egypt.
Oh.
So some of the first razors made of copper were used in Egypt and India around 3000 BCE. Egyptian women removed their head hair and considered pubic hair uncivilized.
Head hair.
I actually read in another article that in the Stone Age, they used to remove their hair from men and women, basically because it's, I don't know why I find this a bit funny, but it was to stop their like opponents from grabbing onto and like attacking them.
I mean, that changed over time. Nowadays, actually, it's like, oh, it's good.
But
Anyway,
isn't it crazy? I did not know that it went back to ancient Roman and ancient Egyptian times.
I didn't know it was go back so
Right?
much.
I
So
thought it was
it's
a modern
so
thing.
it's a lot about like it's about being clean or be of respect.
No, so and again, that's something that I think we were going to talk about because I
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
think the link between like cleanliness and body hair it kind of goes hand
modern.
in hand, but it's
Oh.
not. Of course, we probably know now that is actually not ideal for your body
Yeah.
to remove the body hair because
Yeah, for sure.
I mean,
There's a reason why it's there.
yeah, exactly. So that was it was kind of to do with more in that era to do with like being kind of high class and having like, you know, because if you think about like the Roman and Greek statues, they didn't have any body hair on them.
Mm-hmm. Which
Without
is a bit
having, like,
absurd.
yeah, like
if they're
smooth
Roman and
skin and
Greek.
yeah.
It's like,
So
like why they didn't.
yeah, so it's about kind of having that like really beautiful like smooth skin, so about being kind of higher class. And then really interestingly, as we go into like the 1920s, so something that was kind of really pushing this was fashion, women's fashion. So of course like in the 20s you start to get kind of like sleeves going off, so women are showing more skin. So that's when you get the introduction of the underhair removal.
Okay.
So then you get all of these razors becoming more common.
So kind of the reason is fashion. The reason why it became so
super to do with
popular.
fashion.
All
And
right.
then again in the war, nylon actually became so like tights. It became really hard to get for obvious reasons, and a hemline started to get shorter. So women had kind of no other choice but to show their legs. So that's when shaving the legs became more.
That's very
widespread.
interesting,
So
yeah.
then it just became basically part of the culture. Then. As you get into the 60s, well, more of the 70s, the hippie movement, it was more of a thing to kind of have like a full bush and have all of your hair out. So that was kind of to do with like a hippie freedom as feminism was coming up.
Of course, yeah,
You know.
it kind of like connected in a way.
Exactly.
That's quite interesting. Yeah, I didn't know it become so back. The thing is, like back in the day, has a different like meaning. I guess it was a
Totally.
different like yeah.
But I guess it's like it's always been a thing basically. So then that happened, and then in the 80s you get the rise of porn, and this is kind of something I think is quite interesting for us to talk about. Porn stars, also the introduction of the bikini, then you get the introduction of the bikini wax, so women choosing to remove everything like that. And now where we are, I think it's kind of just normal, like it's just seen as kind of normal. And if you, I mean, there has been a bit of a shift, which we'll talk about in a bit,
yeah.
but generally it's kind of like you're abnormal if you don't remove, for example, like your pubic hair or your underarm hair. I feel you're kind of making a statement if you choose to be hairy. So that's just a bit of the history.
It's kind of like interesting how I found how fashion really changed it, and it's kind of like why we connect beauty with the lack of hair. But I think nowadays it's still very much a thing that hasn't changed that much. I mean, unless as you say, if you do it like it's like a statement of something like, oh, I don't know, I'm a feminist movement or something. Because I think in a way, without going too deep into it, it's kind of like a form of like creating a necessity and kind of like pushing women to do more things to look pretty, whatever that means. So it's kind of like you need to do your hair, you need to use makeup, you need to have a bra, also you need to shave. So all are requirements that are like needed to look like, air quotes, like beautiful as a woman. So I wonder like why we connect like hair with cleanness. I guess if hair is shorter, it's easier to maintain, especially because we are covered with clothes every single day, all the time.
It's true.
So I guess if you have shorter hair, it's like less
kind of tricky in that kind of way.
Yeah.
But then if it is, it's weird how it has become kind of like a mainstream thing. But actually, like I was reading that you're more likely to get like yeast infections or infections like in your vagina, for example, if you remove your hair. Like it's because obviously we're mammals, you know, like the hair is there for a reason. Like like our eyelashes are there for protection. Like we have hair in our nose, for example. I think one thing that I was wondering about was, so obviously hair is associated with being manly or masculine, and therefore is it kind of more, this is a bit dark, but I find the whole thing around, I want to go there and talk about like vagina hair removal. I think that is something that kind of
That
is
sounds-
quite disturbing. And I think that
Painful. Sounds like painful.
it is painful. Trust me, it's painful. But it's like it's scary how much you get used to.
Yeah,
you know?
so you're just gonna do it.
Because I've been removing my body hair since I was like 14.
Yeah,
so
imagine, yeah.
it's like you
Long
just get used to
time.
that. Yeah. Literally, like,
Many years.
like 30 years of removal.
But I think it comes back for what you say about like hair. It's related to being manly. So a woman having hair, it's kind of like it's
Exactly.
not like feminine enough. You know, all this bullshit concept of what feminine is
Yeah.
or what masculine is that we always touch.
Yeah.
But I think it's very bullshitted. Like women, they have to like be so clean. It's kind of like they have to look. Well, we
Like a
mentioned
doll.
it like a doll. You need to be
Yeah.
like a doll to be like a woman, a woman enough. And it's kind of like what? How you felt like if you see a female friend with lots of hair, what would be your first impression?
Honestly.
Like get a shaver. Can you just get like a
I'm like, I've been
shaver?
using this cream, for example. It will help.
Yeah. Honestly,
No,
yeah, like
where? Like on the legs or the underarm or
on the arms, for example. Like lots. Like she haven't like shaved in like 2 months or whatever. I don't know.
I would be like, you're trying to make a statement.
Yeah, I have a really good friend from uni, and she was also like going through this period of like discovering herself and trying to like exploring like veganism and all
Yeah.
of this type of things. And for a period of time, she stopped shaving as well.
Yeah.
And it was like a statement, but people were like kind of like a lot of people were judging her, kind of. But she didn't give a
yeah.
she didn't give a shit. So it was
Yeah.
like whatever, it's my body. But it's kind of like an interesting statement because that even like if you move that to even to Latin America, probably is even worse. I mean, I'm just assuming it's even worse because in Latin America, women, I think the standard it's
yeah.
even like higher, like because you need to have like this certain type of like body and like this and that, and I think Latin American women are known to being really like produced, let's
Yeah.
say like makeup, hair, like boobs,
And
this,
a lot of into the beauty.
yeah,
kind of
very.
industry and
So it's
stuff.
kind of
Yeah.
like yeah, I wonder how like you like that becomes part of your identity as well. It's weird that we need to like if you stop shaving, that's become part of your identity. It goes the same as our topic last week about feminine clothing and like men and queer aesthetics and all of that. It's kind of like if a straight man wearing something, it's a bit more feminine. It's like he's gay. You know,
Yeah.
like it's kind of like we
Yeah.
have all. I think it's something our generation. It's kind of like wiping out or trying to wipe it out or rewrite it again because we have the tools now. We can be like, no, we don't have to follow this kind of like square
Yeah, like cookie cutter kind of thing.
ideas of like it's kind of like weird. Have you ever I don't know, with hair it's interesting because I feel like if I was a woman, I guess I will shave my legs as well. And
Yeah.
it's something I think I will do.
Yeah.
But I wonder like when you do this type of thing, like why you do it, like what's the reason? It's just because you feel pressure from society probably.
I'm telling you,
Yeah.
it's purely to feel sexier. Like so many of these things that we do, practices in society, you get to this point where you don't know whether you're doing it for yourself or you are doing it for somebody else because it's so kind of routine.
Routine,
Like even if because for me now, it's just part of my weekly beauty maintenance to shave my
Yeah,
legs.
yeah.
I mean, I shave my underarms every day. And
we have this conversation. Yeah, that's a bit mental.
I
but
have
alright.
a mental thing about that. But with my legs, like I will shave my legs like, maybe like once or twice a week.
Okay.
And I will do that even if nobody's going to be seeing them
Okay,
because
yeah,
I
yeah.
just feel like
Cleaner.
more put together or like,
Well,
and it's like, am I doing it for me then? Or it's just so I feel more done,
Yeah. I wonder like because I mean there's a factor of it which is also it's like I guess like beauty and
Yeah.
things that we cannot explain, like also like the same reason why we think something is beautiful or not. It's kind of this type of thing that we cannot explain, we just think. But at the same time, if I'm moving for myself, if I don't shave, I get a point that I look like a crazy person. But I wonder if I look weird because we create this idea of like looking weird is like big beard. You know what I mean? Or is actually, do we think like aesthetically that's wrong? That's something with how we think things are beautiful or not. It's something that I always like try to think about because it's like, I don't know if we believe something is beautiful or not because we actually believe, because as a humans, we kind of put pieces together in our brains like that doesn't look right, or if it's just because of like years and years of layers of information. It's like why we think like a woman looks better without hair than with hair.
Yeah.
Like why? I mean,
I think it's
Why?
related.
Is that-
It is about aesthetics in a way, and I think it's back to that thing of having like smooth, shiny skin.
Yeah.
But that's problematic because it's like women should be like soft and shiny and pretty, and men should be like rough and like hairy and that kind of thing, and it's kind of problematic.
Yeah.
But I
think something like culture. I think most of these problems also are very cultural in the sense of like we cannot put everyone in the same category of things. But the truth is, depending on your race or where you come from, you may have more or less hair. So if you're from a different country than others, some countries, because genetics, they have more hair. Women or men, it's the same. So the thing is, like, we have this standard idea of like how beautiful should look like.
Yeah, it's very true.
And I wonder, like, imagine like if it was the other way around. Some people, I'm sure people that have no hair. I heard this from men. I don't know if a woman, probably not because it's a different point, but from men, some men that have no hair, they would like to have hair, body hair. But you don't have it because your genetics are not,
not your heritage,
and it's fine.
Or something,
so if you go back to that, so why we find a problem with someone has it or not? If it's something genetic, it's the same as anything else as a humans that we have,
And I have to say, this is going to sound a bit controversial, but I will definitely say it.
Controversial.
Coming in. So yeah, I'm a straight woman, so I sleep with men, and I have to say that I don't like it when guys shave. I like a hairy guy, and that's probably because I go for like typically masculine men, and it kind of freaks me out a bit when a guy shaves down there. Like I really don't like it.
That's quite interesting, because maybe that guy shaves because he thinks that the woman, in this case you, will like it more because it's cleaner. Maybe just because it's like they like it as well.
Or maybe somebody said it to them one time
that
and
you
they
need
were
to
just
shave.
like, oh, that's the thing to do. And but that's weird, because it's like I do prefer a hairy guy, not too hairy. Because then I think, I would feel like, and this is really toxic, like if I was sleeping with a guy and he didn't have any leg hair or arm hair, then it's a bit not masculine. But does that make him not masculine?
Yeah, it just make it like a person that has hair.
So I'm doing exactly the same thing, because if a woman is hairy, then she's manly. No, that doesn't mean, but it works both ways, I have to say.
It's true, it's a really good point.
So just to go back to the kind of pubic hair kind of discussion, I think for women, this is something that I think we should really kind of consider why we are doing it more. And I think this, like, it's become very, like we say, just expected that women will wax everything off. It's actually interesting. I went for a wax recently. The woman was
speaking of,
the woman was so lovely, and she was like, you know what? All the girls that I'm seeing are getting completely everything off at the moment. She's like, I think it's a trend.
Like what?
Literally everything off. That freaks me out.
That's painful. That's a lot of pain.
It is.
It's a lot. I think it's a lot of pain.
And also money as well. Think about because they're not cheap. These waxes, it's like 30 quid.
But also, it's like, I mean, if you want to go there, that's why I say it's a very capitalistic thing, because this is created for women to spend a lot of money on everything. Because women they spend way more money than men.
Yeah,
in
on like beauty and everything.
Yeah,
and
so
it's actually completely unnecessary. And you're right. It's like if you think about all of the money that like these razors, people spend on razors, on creams, waxing.
It's mental. Yeah,
everything for something that is completely unnecessary. Really. Yeah. But yeah, she was telling me that that girls are getting everything removed.
Like a new trend or something.
Trend that she's
like TikTok trend probably.
I know, like get it off, But yeah, the link between that and porn, and I think that is kind of why it has become so like commonplace. Where, like
I think somehow like we think like porn actors and actresses and actors overall, they're kind of like this has this standard of perfection, which is not.
Yeah.
Kind of like, like they have the perfect body, the perfect thing, and blah, 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 which is actually really not. It's just like, I mean, again, it depends on what you like or not.
Yeah.
But I wonder, like, if that's why also, like, things like OnlyFans, they became so popular, because it's kind of like taking ownership, and you do porn in your own terms.
Yes.
And I'm sure in OnlyFans, there's a lot of women, they don't shave, there are women that do this, because it's more free.
Yeah.
And it's, like, less the norm of what porn is, which is porn. I mean, porn is problematic in every single way, but one of the ways definitely is like women in porn are like, and men as well. Normally men in porn, they don't have no hair. It's like they have to shave both of them. So kind of like we're ideal, like
It really is. And then like, because
promotes.
a lot of women say that they have like vaginal surgery and everything as well if they're porn actors, to try
Wow.
to make their vaginas look like, because I guess they're going for this kind of like mannequin kind of perfect look. But it's funny, right? Because it's just purely of what we used to. And I think like that is one time where I think social media is super positive, because you do see these movements of like people showing their body hair or kind of it becoming more normalized in that way. But I still would argue that it's really not normalized.
You know, it's not. You know, I was thinking about something like back in the day. I mean, that was a few years ago. I remember like Miley Cyrus.
Yeah.
She released this album that was very experimental. It was after her era, I think Bangers is the album when she was very like wild and like all of that. You know, when she had a We Can't Stop and all the Wrecking Ball, that era of her.
Yeah.
After that, she released an album, and some of the promo pictures, I don't think they were part of the album, but some of the photos she was taking, she was having like underarm, and sometimes she was like painting the underarm hair like with colors like blue, pink. That was probably, I don't know, 7 years ago. I don't know.
Yeah.
It was a few years ago, and people were condemning her so bad. She was being attacked. It was like she's crazy. Obviously the same thing. She's being like a whore, and also apart from being a whore, she's doing this, which is disgusting. What she's doing that. So she was very, very attacked for that. That was a few years ago. And of course, if someone does it nowadays, it would be a bit easier. But it's funny because then you see like male artists doing that and kind of like putting colors on their underarms. It's like, oh my god, he's so cool. That's kind of cute or whatever. But then the woman, when they do it, she was attacked because probably she was a bit ahead of her time for like. The mainstream to do it, kind of thing.
But I mean, it's like, again, it's kind of like you said, guys have said to you, oh, I wish I was hairier, I wish I had body hair. Like it's like you're not really, there's no consequences for a man if they're hairy, because it's acceptable for a man to be hairy. And I don't know, but I would assume that there aren't too many repercussions for men that are hairless.
Probably
it's
not.
just like a personal preference kind of thing. Whereas like someone like Miley Cyrus will come under like massive criticism if she has like hairy underarms, for example. You know.
Yeah, it's. Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, it's a weird thing because it's natural for both. You know, if your body is having growing hairs because it's natural.
Yeah.
So.
Has anyone ever said anything to you about your body hair?
Not really.
No.
To be honest, no, never.
Never.
Never. No,
Yeah.
I never had that. To be honest.
Have you ever felt self-conscious about body hair?
Not really. I think maybe when I was growing up. When I was, I don't know, like a teenager, but because you're a teenager, you're
awkward.
You're awkward. You don't like anything. It's like, oh, I have hair, you know. But apart from that, I never felt that. I think because I never experienced something like a situation that someone tells me like, oh, why do you have hair or why you don't have hair? I never had that. But for you, I'm sure you have some story. Do you have any stories that you can recall without getting into detail if you don't want? Like you felt on the spot or someone say something about that for your body hair?
Yeah.
Which I guess it happens, I guess for women happen all the time because men.
I think literally because men.
Because men, yeah.
Yeah, like someone asked me like why I hadn't like shaved my area kind of thing, which is super rude, right? Super, super rude.
Yeah, but if it's your husband, for example, and you, I don't know, okay, let's put an example with, if your husband, he mentioned that he likes you to be shaved because he likes that more, and you don't do it a few times, and he complains about it, what do you think will be your reaction to it?
Fuck off, bitch.
Fuck off.
No, like the thing is, so I think, I think it's all about the way that it's proposed, right?
Yes,
and
definitely.
Don't get me wrong, I have no problem if I'm sleeping with somebody and they have a preference of me being waxed. If they say like, oh, I just find it really sexy when you're like waxed, or I don't really like body hair, and if I really like them, again, that's a bit of a toxic statement to say. I don't mean it like, oh, because I really like them, I'll do it. No, I don't mean it like that. It's if I feel like I want to kind of like give that kind of investment, if that makes sense, then I would definitely consider it. Like I would want them to consider, like, if I'm dating a guy, then I don't like that he's shaving there, then I would be like, oh, I find it kind of sexy when guys have a bit more body hair. Would you consider doing it? Are you comfortable with that? That's okay. I think it's okay.
I think the same. I think I wouldn't be like, if I know the person with has some preference, I will make an effort sometimes, because I don't like the idea of being like, because that person likes it, I have to follow a rule, so if I don't do it, I will feel bad. But sometimes I may take in consideration, if you like something more or less, I will do it for you, because, if you love the person, if you like the person, you would like to do something that make them feel good as well.
At the end of the day, we kind of hope that our partners are going to love us for us, regardless of like hair or whatever. But there is a certain element of you kind of compromise. But then should you compromise on like your own?
True. So then we go to another topic there about like, I think you shouldn't like, I mean, your partner, of course, they can tell you, or the person you're with, they can tell you, oh, I like you when this and that, as a comment. Fine.
Yeah.
But it doesn't mean that you need to change anything, because that's really toxic as well. Like, why you need to give the permission to someone else? It's kind of a bit of an ownership. That's very toxic. It's like, why someone has to tell you? Maybe this is going too demon about it, but why someone say, oh, I like you with short hair, like why your hair is long?
Yeah. And it's not really okay to do that.
It's
but
not really
for me,
okay.
like with literally every boyfriend I've ever had, because I really like beards. So whoever I'm dating, if I'm dating, we're more in a like actual relationship. I wouldn't say that to some random guy, but I would say like, oh no, I really like it when you have like a beard, because I like that. That's like my taste kind of thing. And like, but then is that an okay? But then I would want them to say, actually, I don't really like myself with a beard. I prefer myself clean shaven, because it's so like blah blah blah. So fuck you. But I would want that better than them like, because it's their body at the end of the day, and you should love them irregardless of that,
I think it should come from a place of like understanding, and very like, it's kind of like, because I love you, or I like you a lot, I feel that you look better in that way, or you're upset. So it's kind of like a good, kind of like a, thanks to telling me, I would take in consideration. That's the thing.
Yeah,
you would take in consideration, because someone that cares about you is telling you that you look better some way. But there's like, if you think that's the rule you need to follow, I think that's a bit problematic.
It is.
Because it's a bit like, well, if you don't like that about me, why you're with me?
The moral of the story is kind of like with all of these different, like with any beauty practices and everything like that, it's not as simple as this, but if you feel that you're truly doing it for yourself, which I would definitely say that I'm not. Mm-hmm. I know I'm doing it for society. But if you feel if we can get to a point where, especially if waxing is super painful for you and you really hate it and you think, I'm just doing this for like, even worse, just doing it for a man's approval. If we could get to the point where we're like, oh no, fuck it, like I'm only doing this for myself, then great. But definitely. It's just not as easy as that.
It's not
because
as
it's
easy.
Like there's very real consequences for, let's just say, women in this in this case, for not following beauty standards, even like, for example, dyeing your hair, you know, like that's another one, like covering the grays, like then there's a different like kind of judgment placed upon you if you're not, because then it's like, oh, she's old, like, you know what I mean, like it's,
and again I wonder like the whys, why we do it, like, it's kind of like the base of it, like we'll do all these things sometimes for no reason. We don't know the reasons why we're doing it.
It's just ultimately everything is just so unfair for women all the time, and I know that's like such a big,
it's a good topic to talk in this month.
For Women's Month. But it's like, we just so bear the brunt of all of these things, because it's just so narrow. I think it's still very, very, and I think, there has been a lot of body positivity and movements and all of that, but it's such a narrow kind of like framework of what beauty is for women in the West, I think.
Yeah, definitely,
So
agree.
Hope you're grateful that you were born a man.
I am often, to be honest. When I see these things, like, oh no. Especially like not shave but straight man, it's like, oh no. It's like, if I was a woman, I need to go through that. I think we'll be fighting a lot.
I think you would. Okay, so Enzo has 60 seconds to give us a little recap on this quite dense, hairy
topic. Especially it's hairy.
Ready?
Yes.
Let go.
Well, I do believe us in our generation has this opportunity to kind of rewrite the story. And I think we have seen a change already in this kind of last years, how things are getting more open and people are doing whatever they please, and it's more accepted or common to women not shaving if they don't want, and all the feminist movement. But I feel like the next generation, like probably when we are, I don't know, 60 or something, or 50, I think we will see a harder shift on this, because I think we can we are in this position of rewrite everything and kind of like see things and discuss things in a different way.
Yeah,
So I
yeah.
think like in probably 20 or 10 years maybe, because everything's moving so fast, we're gonna see the changes of it, because at the end of the day, I think it should come from if you want, if you need, and if it's possible for you, and not because you need to fit in some mold or some category that it's created by
3
media
seconds.
or people, whatever. So
Done.
yeah, done. So if you wanna let your hair grow, let your hair grow, and just cut it if you want, or if you really want to please someone else, well, I mean, do it. I mean, I guess at the end that's personal choice. If you want to please your boyfriend or girlfriend because the person has it with her, that's at least that comes from like you're doing it because you're allowing it. You know what I mean?
Like I'm making a choice to please my partner.
One person that is asking me. It's not like a society, which is something so absurd. It's kind of like when you do something because your mom asked you to do it, kind of thing. It's kind of, you know what I mean? I mean, it's very extreme, but it's kind of like it's a relationship between two, and you hold responsibilities and kind of like, all right, I can do this for that person, but do it also in your own terms, and don't feel like, and you know, if somebody tells you like, well, I'm not gonna be with you because you have hair or whatever, that's fuck it. That's not a person for you. That's simple as that.
Yeah, it is.
Unless you want to shave your hair. That's
but just be careful how you're trying to keep people as well, though. Be mindful of that. I mean, that's a whole different thing.
True. Yeah.
But I wonder, because basically last year in the pandemic, we were talking about this because, as I said, I shave my underarms literally every day. How wild! So Enzo challenged me to shave like every other day. Do you remember?
Yeah.
And I really can't do it.
It's hilarious. I mean, so hilarious.
Really can't. And I think it's that thing of, because I get worried about, and this is something that I think we haven't really emphasized enough, but I want to emphasize it again, the link between cleanliness and shaving. It's like actually, of course, if you have like a massive bush under there, that's a different situation.
It will smell more because
but like
natural.
Stubble, no. So it's like, but I think it's just really ingrained in my head to shave.
Normal.
It all off.
I mean, it's all around you since you're born. I'm like almost my face. It's since around you since you're born. You have all these things that you need to follow.
And I remember my mum literally being like teaching me how to wax.
Imagine,
hairy gals.
Imagine, it's like.
So then it's hard. So I'm like, I need to talk about it in therapy.
No. But it's a fair point, to be honest. Yeah, it's a fair point. So yeah.
But yeah, if you want to be hairy, be hairy.
Be hairy,
if
yeah.
you don't want to be hairy, don't be hairy.
Yeah, I think it's like, I think we have the power to make some changes. And I mean, talking about it makes a difference.
Yeah.
I do believe.
But please, guys, do tell us in the comments. Do
you shave
hairy?
or not?
Do you shave? Do you wax? Do you
everything? You love shaving?
Tweeze? Thread? What do you do? Nothing?
Interesting nothing? Yeah.
Please let us know your experience. And
Thank
see you on the
you
next
so much.
one.
See you on the next one.
Bye, guys.
Bye.